good, family? Today we're going to talk about the 4 reasons why you should sell a stock. I get it. There's a lot going on in the market right now, and most investors are in this, I should sell this stock right now to get it lower. You're thinking that the market is going to crash. There's a lot going on right now, and what I want to do is help you navigate on when to sell a stock. I did a previous video on this a while back, but I wanted to double down and just add some more layers to it so that you understand how to truly navigate this game. Before we get into that, man, I want you to I want you to subscribe to the channel, but also talk to us in the comments so we can know a little bit more on how to help you. Let us know if this video will help you or not. All right, first and foremost, let's get to it. And before we go, I want to say this, the last reason for me is the #1 reason why you sell a stock. All right, so first on the list, we're gonna go with if you just made a mistake, right? So if you know for a fact you bought a company, let's say you bought a company like Peloton, right? You bought that company during the pandemic, you thought it was gonna maybe pan out, and you see that it was just a Peloton, you saw it was just a COVID stock or a pandemic stock. Man, go ahead, cut your losses on companies like that because you understand that they're consistently going down. You see that profits are decreasing. You see revenues are decreasing. You see earnings are keep missing. Go ahead on, right? Just get away from that company. Don't keep buying the dip because you're going to run out of chip. Because companies like that keep having lower lows, meaning the stock price keep getting lower and lower and lower and lower. And I don't want you in companies like that. I want you to just be able to say, you know what, let me cut my loss here. I'm going with the win, so to say, in that one, right? Another reason why I want you to sell a stock, like don't even think twice about it, is if the company no longer has that moat around it. Now, what is a moat? First and foremost, we talk about this all the time. A moat is a company when a company has a competitive advantage. What is it that the company has that makes it better than its peers? Now, I'm going to say something that I know a lot of people not going to like. Nike. Nike no longer has the moat that it has back in the day. We consider that, and I've been calling that a Jurassic stock, a dinosaur stock. You know, go look at some of the videos we got on about dinosaur stocks, right? Because you see companies like Deckers with the Hoka brand, like they are just going crazy. That OC brand, which is on, right? You see companies like that are truly taking market share from Nike consistently. Now, Nike came out and said that, yo, our brands, our signature brands like Jordan, Air Force Ones, the Dunks, and even the Air Max. Go look at the last earnings call. They said these are their signature lifestyle brands. They have been declining in sales, and they will continue to decline in sales. They actually said in 2025, they're expecting a 10% decrease in those signature brands. While when you look at a company like a Deckers, they just dominated earnings. And guess what? A part of their brand, Deckers owned Hoka, the Hoka running shoes that you see everywhere, but they also have another brand that you know of, which is Uggs. In the earnings report, these two brands alone under the Deckers brand increased by 93%. Superior growth. So I want you to sell a company if it no longer has its moat. If that moat is deteriorating, it's time for us to get out of there. And especially if they're not talking about bringing a new CEO in, like they're not doing none of these things that can help turn the company around, man, it's not our job to fall in love with that company. It's our job to say, yo, you haven't earned the right to be in my portfolio as we move forward. And because you haven't earned that right, I'm going to get rid of you right now. If you come back, you start doing things better. If I see the company turning around, now here's what I will say. Nike doesn't have like a bad balance sheet, right? They don't have like just a horrible balance sheet. But if you go look at it, you see that profits are decreasing and revenue is decreasing. So I say specifically when a company is running out of a moat, when that moat is deteriorating, it's time for us to get rid of it. Next, I will say this. Now, when a company is extremely overvalued, now you take this one with a grain of salt. Because I know that most of you, when we looking at companies, we feel like if a company is running up, we like, yo, it ain't coming down. You feel like it's going to pull back a little bit and run up some more, right? And that's okay. Here's what I want you to understand. Let's say you get in a stock. Let's say it done ran up back-to-back 100% returns on a year. You know, it's breaking all-time highs different times within the year. I say it's not necessarily time for you to get rid of the stock 100%, but I definitely will say it is time for you to take some profits off of that stock. So that still falls under the when to sell a stock, right? So I want us to be able to say, okay, let me not be greedy right here, right? Let me take some of these profits and reposition it somewhere else. That will serve you fine. With that mindset, yo, I'm not gonna lie, you really starting to move like a hedge fund manager. And that's my goal. My goal is to get you to start moving like a fund manager, where you're not just saying, buy it and forget it. I don't agree with buy it and forget it. I don't believe in buy this company for 30 years, because every company has to earn the right to be in your portfolio. Your portfolio is a sacred place. Your portfolio is the secret garden. Your portfolio is your financial garden of Eden, God. You know, I'm just using that in a way. So if they not acting right, guess what? That company becomes a what? Forbidden fruit. Yep, I laugh at my own jokes, y'all. All right, so that's it, right? Now, next on my list I wrote down is, watch this, y'all. When the story changes. When the reason why you bought the company is no longer there. Right, so let's say like you bought a company because it had such and such product. Like for me, when I bought AT&T back in 2000, maybe 16, 17, when they bought that DirecTV and they overpaid for it, I got rid of it. Like I held it for another year to see if management could do something. I got rid of it. The stock was $28 when I got rid of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they just ain't been doing it, right? They've not been doing it. They have been... That deal did them bad. They put $150 billion in debt on the balance sheet. It's been hard for them to try to shake that. And the industry is not growing, which brings me to the fifth one. Get out of a company sell the stock when the industry is slowing down. When you see a stock, so if 5 and 6 are similar, when you don't see, like when the reason why you bought the company no longer exists, so let's say you bought, for example, let's say like you bought Toys R Us back in the day and you knew this was a dominant brand, but then Amazon came along and took market share. The reason why you bought Toys R Us no longer existed, so it's time to get out, right? Let's say you bought, Beyond Meat, right? For me, I bought Beyond Meat during the pandemic, right? People was heavy on it, but then I got rid of it. Why? Because I realized that the market didn't gravitate to it the way I thought the market was going to gravitate to it. They didn't get as many partnerships as I thought they was going to get. I got out of it, and the company started doing what? Going downhill. I saw it. I didn't stay there that long, right? Why? Because the reason why I bought the company no longer existed. And also, number 5 is we get into it. Growth. Like if an industry is slowing down and the company no longer has a stronghold on that industry, so that means the company can't grow and the industry ain't growing. That's why I'm not heavy into the basic materials sector, right? If the industry is not growing, then how can your company be the growth company in that industry? You're trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. You're trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. And I don't want you to do that. We don't got to make investing hard. And last but not least, I'm going to say this. When a company no longer has pricing power, so good. Watch what I'm about to tell you. A company that has lost pricing power, Starbucks. It is a company that I always said, like, I don't really like this company like that, but I respected the business model. Y'all know I was a fan of Starbucks is the bank that sells coffee. I'm a fan of it, but I don't necessarily like the stock because I felt like the company was mismanaged, which can be another one that we add on, right? If a company doesn't have great management. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I think Nike has everything, but I think management is stuck in their ways and they don't want to leave. And because they're stuck in their ways, the stock is suffering. If you don't believe me, go look at Billions. Go look at Billions when Axelrod purchased the Twinkie company, right? One of the things he did in that brand was he said, this is a phenomenal brand. And he was like, yo, the CEO's son or something took over the company. He's too stubborn. He's not doing the things he's supposed to be doing. They kicked them out. They off them on the board and they put new management in. Why? Because this is a signature brand. It has built-in people. And I think that's the thing what happened with Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks because they have truly lost their pricing power. At one point in time, people was willing to pay whatever for their luxury coffee. It was like buying luxury. They actually branded themselves as the luxury coffee brand. And think about it. They had all these different things, all these different flavors, and people were going crazy about it. And then what happened was the brand management didn't do what was right with the brand. And now people are like, yo, I'm not willing to pay the extra $2 for the Starbucks brand, or $3 for the Starbucks brand. But maybe I don't need it every day. I can get it every other day. When people start saying that, you're losing pricing power. Guess who's not losing pricing power? A company like Amazon. No matter what they charge us for Amazon Prime. And right now, guess what we're going to do? We're going to buy it. You know why? Because we have now become, watch this, lazy consumers. We will pay the extra whatever for the what? Next day delivery. Same day delivery. And then they start packaging stuff inside of it. Well, yeah, you can get Amazon Prime, and they can use the Amazon Prime subscription as a way to say, yo, we still compete with Disney and Netflix, but really you bought Amazon Prime for what? Next day delivery. You feel what I'm saying? Like when a company starts losing pricing power, that is when I truly this ain't it for me, because I love pricing power. I love companies that can increase the price on you incrementally 4 to 10% a year, and the people not going to budge. I love when a company can do that, right? I'm interested to watch CrowdStrike, not this quarter, but next quarter, because I want to see how many reconstructions to subscriptions and clients that they had to do. Why? Because we saw that they just had a global, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't want to get on here and commit conspiracy theory. But we know that in order for some of those people to stay with them, they're like, yo, you got to restructure this deal with us. Like, we were probably going to pay you top tier price because you was the big dog, you was doing that. But now that this has happened, you had a so-called glitch in your update. Glitch, my daughter would do that. Glitch, daddy. She would do the air quotes. I don't know why she would do that to me, but she does it sometimes. And I'd be like, Stank, what does that mean? And she'd be like, you know. And I'm like, no, I don't know. With the air quotes, there's more emphasis on it, right? Anyway, I want to see that. So let's go through it again, man. No more Moat, overvalued, management, pricing power is my fave. Because if you can't charge more, that's one of the ways you increase profit. So, man, I definitely hope we helped y'all with this video, man. Go back over this video, man. Like and subscribe and make as many snippets as you want, right? Like, send this to your people, because this is a time where you're going to be able to tell, like, where you should be at and creating that watch list, man. It's your boy, the Wallstreet Trapper, man. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you check out our show each and every Tuesday called Trapping Tuesdays on the Wall Street Looks Like Us network. Also, go to podcasts, go to Google, go to Apple, all of those plays, it's there. Make sure you tap in with us, man. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. It's your boy, the Wallstreet Trapper. Oh, that is not me in the chat telling you about crypto and telling you about WhatsApp. And if you click a link on Instagram or something, they send you the WhatsApp, immediately get out of it, because there's people that are literally stealing posts from me and running ads on them. You got to read the top of it. It doesn't say Wall_Street_Trapper with the check, and it says sponsored. It's not me. These people are getting real crafty at stealing y'all information. Y'all deeming me, sending me the ad. I'm like, bro, that's not me. It's me, but look at the name. And it's sending you to WhatsApp, and they telling you about coaching, and they telling you about Bitcoin. Y'all know how that ain't my thing. So check that out, man. Every time you see those pages, block them, delete them, and report them, man. So I love y'all. I see y'all in the trap.